Investor Talk. I'm super excited to have you join me for a short 30 minutes of some fantastic chit chat. Let me tell you, I just want to take a minute to introduce Rob. Rob Hahn, you have got to be, does everybody know Jonathan? What's his last name? I just looked him up. Jonathan Goldsmith. Do you know who he is, Rob?
I do not. But
okay, you're going to.
I very well may. It's like
you're going to. Jonathan Goldsmith is that good-looking, gray-haired man in the Dos Equis commercial, and they bill him as the most interesting man in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, I digress. That would be Rob. So I am going to tell you. I just want everybody to know a little bit about you. So sure. I'm just gonna tell everybody some snippets about you because I think it's worth mentioning. Okay, so everybody bear with me here. So Rob has a varied background from finance, corporate law, technology, even product development, media, entertainment, startups, fashion. He's even a professional card player. And so he brings a unique perspective to business problems. So how I kind of equate the horse world into this, Rob brings all of his experiences and is able to give his perspective on business problems. Right. Now, he started in real estate, specialized in commercial real estate, an investment firm, in an airplane hangar even. Mm-hmm. Then you moved on to Realology, and he headed the interactive marketing for Coldwell Banker Commercial. And he also writes the well-known blog called Notorious R.O.B, which is where we found you, where he opines on topics in real estate, technology, marketing strategy, and what he deems as far too long posts, which I doubt. Can't get enough of you. He's a prolific speaker at industry events, Inman Connect, T3 Summit, local and state associations, weddings, and even a few bar mitzvahs. Are you ordained? Have you married anybody yet?
Not yet, but that may come. I might have to get one of those internet licenses.
I did it. I highly recommend it. I have married somebody. I think you should do it. You would be great.
Right on.
So I also, you're a graduate of Yale University with a degree in philosophy.
Yeah.
This is amazing. This is
that useful degree.
I'm telling you, it's just so interesting. I mean, the older I get, it's funny. I'm sure that, maybe not for you, but when I was younger, wasn't interested in all these big things. But now as I'm 51 years old, it's like, I'd like to chat philosophy with somebody sometime.
Right.
So
we can do that. We can do that. Talk about Aristotelian ethics or, Kantian dialectics or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll Google all that first before our next conversation for sure. So I'm super stoked that you agreed to come to RESACON. We were really lucky because you actually live in Las Vegas. You just relocated. Right. And I think when I talked to you past, you relocated from South Carolina?
That's right. Greenville, South Carolina, the upstate. And before that, Houston, Texas. And I loved Greenville, but man, traveling out of there was just too difficult. So I think it just kind of worked out where I'm in Vegas. You guys are coming to Vegas. It's really easy. I'm excited to attend and be there.
And what's funny is that I just moved 20 minutes from Greenville.
Wow,
so I moved from California to Columbus, North Carolina.
Right.
And so I just get on 26 and I go, maybe 18 miles and I'm in Greenville.
Yeah.
I actually totally dig the Greenville airport. It's very cool.
It's a great airport.
Great airport. Yeah. But you're up for 30 minutes and you come down. Most of the time I go out of Atlanta or Detroit. I love the Detroit airport too. They've got a PF Chang's and McDonald's right next to each other. So it's really hard to choose when I go there. But I thought for sure, because it used to take me 90 minutes to get to the Sacramento airport when I lived in Sacramento or in the Sacramento area, in California. So no, I'm liking it. I love it.
Yeah, no, I love the upstate. I miss it. And, maybe I'll have to swing by. So maybe there'll be a reason for me to get back there because Asheville is fantastic. It is. The Blue Ridge Highway. I mean, it's wonderful. Like I said, if I didn't travel like at least half the time, and my problem was I was spending so much time at the Atlanta airport. I felt like I should just get an apartment here. Right. And I knew every restaurant in Terminal C. I mean, I said, I can't do this. I mean, I just can't do this. So
it is funny now because I'm getting to be the same way. So it's like I know in Detroit where the PF Chang's is, and Atlanta I know where the PF Chang's is in the Atlanta airport. I'm a fan of the PF Chang's clearly, and there's actually one in Greenville. Every time I go to Greenville, I have to stop in the PF Chang's there too.
That's right. When
I was in California, I lived like an hour and a half, 2 hours from one.
Yeah.
So I was Chang depleted. This was not good. Wow. So let's talk real estate. There's so much going on right now.
Yes, there is.
What do you want to talk about? Just let's have it.
Oh boy, I can't. First of all, I can't wait to actually be at RESACON and kind of hear a different perspective, right? Because I mean, you guys are like, you're in real estate, you're connected, but it's not direct. You're not brokers and agents, so it's not the same thing. I'd love to hear just more of the perspective from what you guys are seeing, right? But in prep for the conference, what you and I talked about is, because you're sort of connected so much to the overall residential real estate industry, things that are going to affect that residential real estate industry will absolutely affect you and your members, right? So I think I want to present just sort of high level kind of major trends that are really rather disruptive, right? And one of the things I mean, like, my day job is as a strategy consultant, right? So I work with companies, I work with agent teams. I don't really work with agents because like, what's the point? I've never been an agent. I've never walked the walk. I feel like there are better people for that. But companies, I do talk to them. And one of my themes in the last couple of years has been what I've been calling become anti-fragile, right? Meaning there's so much disruption happening. And what a lot of companies are trying to do is sort of manage that and then defend against it and stay the same. It's like we have a wonderful model. We've got a great thing going. Let's just kind of try to keep that going. And I'm saying that's a mistake, right? Anti-fragile, it's from a book by Nicholas Nassim Taleb, who talks about this. The point being is, anti-fragile is you have all this disruption, all this chaos happening. You want to use that to actually get better, right? Because the flip side of that disruption is there's major opportunity, right? For companies, for individuals who figure out, okay, here's how things have changed. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to get better. I'm going to improve. Then the opportunities are amazing, right? So that's been a theme. And I feel like that's going to apply really to the staging industry as well, because things are very much changing. So much going on. So I don't know, if we're going to be able to get into all of it, but I would say let's go through some of the top. Let's start with the biggest trend, if you will, the biggest issue, which to me is the death of the brokerage and rise of agent teams, right? And the rise of the agent teams, I think, has taken the next step, in the last 2-3 years, right? So, I've been calling them sort of the bionic super teams, right? So this is kind of the way I think about that. For, I don't know, let's say 10 years, we've had this fear in the industry that the real estate agent could get disintermediated. Technology's going to come in, it'll take over. People are going to go to websites, FISBOs are going to blow up, and what's proven out is that's just not the case. And we're just not seeing that, right? And in fact, what we're seeing is more and more people using real estate agents. Like, for example, millennials use real estate agents far more than previous generations, right? The folks who are doing FISBO or trying to, sort of not, go represent it, they're not the millennials. They're more the boomers, right? Who've done it a few times and feel like, I could do this, right? Right. So we're not seeing that. What we are seeing, though, and it doesn't get talked about enough, is that so in other words, technology is not going to get rid of a seasoned agent, but another seasoned agent will. So what we're seeing is agent teams that are getting more and more market share, more and more powerful, that are, this might have started with 5 agents, on their team. In the last 2 years, they're allowed 50. And they started doing 25 million in volume. Now they're doing 500, and they're expected to grow at a much, much faster clip. So it does pose, major issues, right? And, one of the things I'm excited about is thinking through with you and your members as to how does this affect the staging industry. I mean, I personally think there's definite impacts, right? And one of the things we might then start talking about, think about it, is how do you all become anti-fragile, right? How do you all sort of take advantage of these changes and improve, right? So that the opportunities are there. So I would say that's the biggest one. There's some other big trends, like we talked about the commission lawsuit, but that's 7 to 10 years out. We could look at some of the technological shifts, that are affecting the overall industry and you guys in particular, like virtual staging, right? The new generation of 3D cameras. I mean, some of that stuff. So I'm excited to learn as well.
Yeah, for sure. What's funny is that, I think every industry, but let's just talk about ours, real estate. Yeah. Like you already said, people initially were afraid, oh my gosh, technology is going to come. It's like the robots are coming and they're going to put everybody out of business, right?
That's right.
That didn't happen. When technology came, jobs just kind of shifted around. So your job might have been eliminated, but another one was created in order to help run the machines.
Right.
So it's the same thing, I think, with real estate. Like what you said, people thought, oh, they're just going to go to these online websites, these online auction sites, just, these zero commissions, or not zero commissions, but very low commissions, and try to, make the real estate agent obsolete, which has not happened.
Correct.
And virtual staging, I would say in our industry in particular, a lot of stagers fear it. And a lot of times they kind of go up against it. And so we hear a little bit of the grumblings about it. But in reality, it's like, you know what? This is not going to put stagers out of business, because the bottom line comes down to, when a buyer walks in, if it's a vacant and it's advertised it's virtually staged, they walk in, it's still a naked house. It's empty. They can't see anything. They can't visualize it. So that connection is not there. And it's not staging. These are a lot of graphic artists that put some photos together and place their chairs in. And a lot of times the ones that I see, they're not even placed correctly. So they don't understand the aesthetics and the staging and the scale and all that type of stuff. Some of them are really good and you can barely tell the difference. That's a little bit different. And I think there's a place for it in our industry, but it's not going to put the average stager out of business. You can definitely capitalize on it. If it's going on in your area, there's always going to be somebody who tried it, didn't like it, didn't work for them. And there's a good opportunity for a stager to come in and kind of clean up those pieces.
Yeah, and I think so. I think though the impact is going to be, to me, right, because this is just a truism about technology, right? And it's what I like to say to real estate agents is, technology doesn't make you better, right? Technology makes you more efficient. So, and the example I like to use is, okay, so like Microsoft Word. I mean, I'm old enough. Like you and I are of the Gen X generation. We remember typewriters. Like I remember typewriters, right?
Do you remember WordStar? Did you use WordStar?
Oh my God, of course I remember WordStar. I remember the IBM PC, and I remember. So my point is, like, look, we remember typewriters, right?
Yeah.
And I learned typing at a very young age, just because I play piano, and the finger key thing, I've always liked it. So when word processor came out, and I don't even mean like personal computer, like there was that period in between where they had these machines that were essentially word processors with like a small 3 or 4 line screen. So it's like a better typewriter, right?
Right.
And then we went to PCs. Okay. So we go to word processors, we go to computers. It's not like those things made me a better writer. Do you know what I mean?
True.
It doesn't change how I use language. It doesn't change my writing. What it does is it allows me to write a lot faster, right? So with a typewriter, you have to feed the paper, right? You gotta, you make a mistake, then you have to get out the whiteout. The liquid. Right. Whereas with a computer, I don't have to do any of that. I just backspace, right? So it makes me faster, it makes me more efficient. It doesn't make me a better writer. So with real estate, my point is, look, all this technology, CRM, whatever, leads, all these things don't make you a better agent. They make you more efficient. So what I like to use is, so if you suck, then technology lets you suck faster in front of more people, right? If you're great, then it'll let you be great, in front, like so on. So what we're seeing really in the real estate agent space is the better agents, the ones who actually know what they're doing, the ones that know how to price homes right, the ones that know how to deliver service in the right way. Those people are able to do that more efficiently. So they're able to gain market share. And then if they're good at managing, if they're good at some of that stuff, then they're able to form these teams, and through the use of technology, manage and operate teams, right? In a much more efficient way than, to say brokers were able to do in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So what that's doing is it's washing out the agents that aren't very good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They could be really great at one area. Like they might be really great at client service, but they're not so great at lead generation. Then technology is making it harder and harder for them to do lead generation. So in a very similar way, I would think that it applies to staging as well. I mean, if you have just top-notch professionals who really know what they're doing, who really understand staging as a science, as an art, those people are going to be fine. And in fact, technology, even things like virtual staging, may end up improving, right? Because you've got the eye, you have an understanding of space, you have an understanding of buyer psychology. Like, the technology may end up helping those people. But what it does tend to do is, if you're not there, right? If you don't have the skills, you don't have the business savvy, if you don't have the lead generation, if you don't have those things, then technology exposes that. And I think what we're going to see is, like I said, more and more concentration of power, right? The other thing that I've been, you know, and you and I talked about this, that I've been sort of noticing of late is more and more agents getting into staging, like just as a value add. And I've seen some of their work and I'm kind of like, this doesn't look good. It sucks because you might be a great realtor, but you're not, you know, you're not interior design, like you're not, right? And so I think one of the challenges, one of the things that that I think you and I will talk about, and I think your members are talking about, and I know you guys are thinking about, is how do you get that message out, right? It's kind of like photographers. I actually think you guys and real estate photographers have similar struggles, right?
Yeah, they go hand in hand for sure.
Yeah, and one of my biggest complaints about real estate agents and about the industry is, because I'm going through this right now, you know, because we just relocated to Las Vegas. We thought we're going to rent for a year, just check out the neighborhoods, get to know the city. Now we're actually in the market to try and buy a house. And I got to tell you, Shel, when I go on the MLS or I go on websites, whatever, and I'm just looking at these photos, that it's obvious some real estate agent took with their iPhone, you know, and it just looks awful. And we're talking about like $500,000-$600,000 houses, right? And I'm going, you can't go spend a couple $100s on a professional photographer who knows like how to, you know, like how to turn the lights on, for example, before you take a photo. Like, I don't need to see a photo of a toilet, you know, it's just not that useful for me, you know?
Yeah. That's one of the big things with stagers is that they look at this and say, look, we want a partner. Stagers are there to help the real estate agent look like a rock star, but you are right. Staging and photography go hand in hand. And we see a lot of agents that say, oh, I want to offer this as a value add. And what they do is they get a wingback chair, a throw, a book, and a broke down ficus tree from the local Michael's and stick it by a fireplace and call that staged with their iPhone camera. Right. And it's just not the case. Right. I mean, if anybody out there is listening, you want to see what real stagers can bring to the table, go to this website, homestagingindustry.awards.com. That's where we have the best of the best. We have the professional stager of the year, the top 10 professional stagers. They do redesign, occupied listings, vacant listings. They do all of it. But it is so true that the technology, everything, the way that I'm coming to realize is that, you know, there's that saying, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. But I've got a twist on that. If you keep doing what you're going to do, you're going to get less because everybody else is going to do more. That's right. So they're going to take advantage of that opportunity to learn how to, you know, up level your business by hiring that professional photographer or learning a new piece of technology. It's the people that kind of fear everything and don't find a way to adapt. That's what kills you, is a lack of the ability to adapt to your marketplace and to the new technology that's coming in. And we would love to never see a broke down ficus tree, you know, in an MLS picture again. They're horrible. That's right. But, you know, they're exactly right. And I'm seeing more and more of that, right? So like, especially with the rise of agent teams, a lot of agent teams will say, well, we have in-house staging. Yeah. What do you mean by that? Well, it means that they have some 22-year-old, you know, straight out of college, like as an admin getting $850 an hour, you know, who is told to go down to Michael's and then they have like a warehouse, you know, like one of these self-storage units, you know, filled with various items and that's it. I'm going, okay, well, I guess if that works for you. And the problem is there needs to be, so this combination is training, science, you know, to your point, the best of the best, right? Here's kind of the science, the psychology, the art of doing this the right way. And then educating everybody about this, right? Like I said, I really do think a lot of agents believe that they can just do photography just as well. And I think that's a mistake, just from a consumer standpoint, as a buyer, right? It's in the market. It's a common sense thing as well. It's like, because do y'all not see the pictures you just took? I mean, let's just be real. And with any business, it's like there's a right way to do it, and then there's the wrong way. It's either correct or it's not correct. And this is my thing. We teach RESA. We wrote a MCE course for real estate agents. It's called Staging to Sell: What Every Agent Should Know. Right. And we have over 60 instructors across the U.S. and Canada that teach this course in different states for CE credits. And one of the biggest things is that getting agents to understand that when a seller wants to sell their home, they have a goal. They want to sell it quickly and they want to sell it for as much money as possible. And they're trusting that agent with what is likely their number one asset, which is the equity in that particular property.
Absolutely.
And they're trusting somebody. This is people's nest eggs. I just moved from California, and that was every ounce of my being in that equity was everything that I've ever worked for in that home that I needed to pull out to be able to get where I'm at now. And I'm trusting an agent to do something. Thank goodness I had a fantastic agent. But agents, if you're not staging and you're not offering it, it's like, are you really living up to your fiduciary responsibility?
Right.
And then if you do try it on your own and you do these little bitty vignettes with these pictures, they want to warm up the space. That's not correct. It's not correct. You either do it correctly or you don't do it at all. And I think that separates, that it separates the hobbyists from the professionals.
Right. And I think, it's something, that maybe we'll talk about at the conferences. Should you all maybe start thinking about how do we partner with local real estate photographers and really start driving this point home and working with some real estate agents that get it, they understand, look, I'm a realtor. I'm not a photographer, unless they are. I mean, look, if they happen to have been a photographer for 20 years, okay, fine. If they have a
legitimate skill set, that's different.
But
different. If you're just like, hey, let's get a wing and a prayer and let's see what happens, that's different.
So, maybe having them help with that effort, so because they're the ones who are going to use professional photography. They're the ones who are going to use professional staging because they know the value for their clients. And maybe educating the local professional community, but also the local consumers. Ultimately, it's the homeowners that they don't know, right? Like as a homeowner, if I'm selling my house, I'm just trusting this realtor. Hey, you're my real estate agent. You know what you're doing. Go sell my house. But to your point, if you have a great realtor, and I've been blessed. I've had some great agents, that I've worked with, and both of them are like, you need to stage. You need photography. Do you know what I mean? And at least in my case, they're like, we'll pay for the photography, but you need to pay for the staging.
Yeah, they should.
And once they talk to me, it's like, well, why do I need to do that? And they talk to me about it. Here's why. Here's the impact. Here's what it does for your days on market. Here's what it does for your, sale prices. I'm like, you know what? I'll write that check every day. I'll write that check every day. I was very glad to do it. And then when I spoke with a professional stager, the great thing about it was I felt like they weren't trying to sell, they weren't trying to upsell me. They were saying, listen, for your house, I think, you should spend $2,500 if you go to this next level. But I don't think I would go beyond that because really there's diminishing returns. And then once I sort of had it explained to me, here's how this works. It's not interior design, right? Exactly. It's not trying to highlight your unique personality, or we're not trying to highlight your family. Like we're trying to actually erase that, right?
Exactly.
Right. Once I've understood that, then it was like, oh, okay, this makes perfect sense. And I do feel like maybe more of that educational training effort needs to happen with consumers, and I think maybe we'll just brainstorm, maybe we'll do a presentation, then we'll sit down and do some brainstorm. I mean, I can come up with some ideas like where are the popular staging YouTube channels, right?
Well, there's definitely some that are on the rise. I know we have a YouTube channel where we put everything on. I'm pretty sure this is going on our YouTube channel.
Perfect.
But you're right. It's all about education. We actually have the consumer guide for real estate agent, or consumer's guide to real estate staging.
Right.
We're getting ready to release an updated version with new statistics. We just collected statistics from last year. I think we have over 1,400 homes in the study. We're super stoked about it.
Yep.
So right now we're getting a graphics person to kind of put that report together. We're going to address virtual staging as well. How to hire a stager, what to look for, what to look for in the photography, why it works. So we have that guide together. Can't wait to release a new one for 2020.
And honestly, this might be a little bit controversial, but Michelle, like I'm not afraid of controversy, right? I would love it if we get to a point where every homeowner should be asking their real estate agent. So I'm going to sell my house, right? I'm going to interview, 2-3 agents or whatever, right? Hopefully they're interviewing more than one. And I feel like every homeowner should be asking, who's going to take my photography, right? I want the name of the photographer that you're going to use because I know how important that is, and who's going to stage my house. Right? Absolutely. So I want to get to a point where we never see photos on the MLS or on Zillow or on Redfin of some toilet that an agent took with a cell phone. I'd love to see something where I mean, God, like, that should be a series. Honestly, that should be a series.
It should. No toilets, no clowns.
Right. And again, the lack of staging and how much that impacts things. Like I've posted some crazy photos from the MLS, right? Where it's like, what are you thinking? You know, like that. Yeah. And here's the thing: that house might actually be the perfect house for us. Do you know what I mean? Problem is, I'll never set foot in it because it's bizarre, it's creepy. You know, it's just like, it's just weird. And I'm going, okay, obviously this hasn't been staged and had no professional photography, right? And I think it would be amazing. I think there should be a YouTube channel where someone's just like, here's the awful photo of the day, right? You know, and hey, homeowners, you should look at this. Hey, agents, you should be thinking about this. And if you were working with a professional stage, if you're working with professional photography, you don't have this problem, right? It should just be hammered into people. I'm hoping for that day where we never see this stuff.
I wish we would get there. I know. I would say I have seen such a huge improvement in our industry. I've been in this industry since 2002.
Right.
So I have definitely seen improvements. People are getting it. Agents get it. We had a vendor. I reached out to somebody because we're looking for a new association management system. So I reached out to somebody and, fill out their little form online. So of course the guy Googled me. So he calls me, but he tells me, I've researched you. I saw your interview with Barbara Corcoran. I called my cousin who's a real estate agent in Florida and he knows who you are. And I was like, wow, that's big, but more and more, do little bitty pockets of population. Of course, not everybody's going to know everybody. There are people that don't know what NAR is. Of course. But to know now that agents are recognizing it and they're recognizing staging as a viable resource to be able to help their clients to the best of their ability. Right. So I'm loving the progress.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's a big step forward because it has become part of the conversation that agents have. The issue is that right now, a lot of them think they can do it because all it takes is a couple of pillows and a mirror.
He's gonna warm up that space.
Yeah. It's like, okay, that's kind of like saying, well, I don't need professional photography because I went out and bought a Canon. It's like, no, that's not really. No, we're not talking about
how to use it.
Right. And again, it's like the technology, thing that I mentioned, right? Like if you're a crappy photographer, having better cameras just make you be crappy online better, like crappier and more fast. Like, it's just, I mean, I do think that education, that training would be very, very helpful. So, but that's the conversation I hope to have, when I see you guys next month. It's next month, right? Yeah.
No, it's July.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm mixing you guys up. You say too many damn conferences.
I'm telling you, they're all over the place. Well, we're super stoked to have you. I just want to thank you again for taking time to chat with us. We're at the end of our time now.
Wonderful.
Everybody else, if you're there, please look up Notorious R.O.B. What's your website?
It's notorious-rob.com.
There you go.
But honestly, at this point, if you Google Notorious Rob, I mean, I think I'm coming up on, top of the Google results. I think there used to be some rap review guy, who's that. And I said, oh, that's cool, So
there you go.
Yeah, you'll find me.
Well, we're super excited to have you. And if you are on the fence and you haven't bought your ticket to RESACON yet, jump off that fence, go to that website, resaconvention.com, plug it in, get yourself registered today. It'll be July 23rd, 24th, and 25th in beautiful Las Vegas. We're going to be at the fantastic M Resort.
The M is fantastic.
So well, we love our team at the M Resort. We're going to have the industry awards. If you're out there right now, you haven't entered the industry awards, it's the best way to be able to market your business. You can make a top 10 list and possibly even become professional stager of the year. Lots of categories. You can also nominate people for certain categories. Some are free, very affordable. Check it out. Get to RESACON. Until next time, everybody, happy staging. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Shel.
All right.
Bye now.
Take care.